Earlier this month, I started writing a brand new fantasy novel, and I got off to a flying start. In the first 7 days, I wrote about 20,000 words and was writing about 3,000 words consistently every day for those first 7 days. But then I missed one day, and then I missed another day, and then I missed another day. And before I knew it, I had missed 10 days of writing. I think we've all been there. You're sitting down at your desk, you're staring at a blank document, and you just can't get the words out. You want to write, you know you need to write, but you just can't write. Maybe you're distracted by the millions of TikToks your best friend just sent you. Or maybe you just have a lot on your mind. Or maybe you're overthinking your writing, and maybe you're feeling a little bit self-conscious about what you've written so far. Or maybe you're like one of my friends who thinks they constantly need to do more research and more outlining before they can actually start their story. Now, this is not an attack. I'm just like you guys. So, how do we fix this problem? Well, first, we have to get down to the root of the issue. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. By the end of this video, you will have learned the 5 most common culprits that stop your writing momentum and how we can combat them and progress as writers. Now, let's dive into the 5 most common factors. First up is perfectionism. You know, the old, I'll just rewrite this sentence one more time syndrome. It's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of perfectionism, but trust me, it's a recipe for disaster. The more you tweak and refine, the more you'll delay actually writing your book. So, how do you overcome perfectionism? Try setting a timer and challenging yourself to write as many words as possible without stopping. Don't go back and edit, don't go back and read over what you just wrote. Just set a timer and write whatever comes to mind within that set amount of time. My motto is you can always go back and edit, but the important thing is to get the words on the page, because without words on the page, there will be nothing to edit. And nothing has to be good the first time you write it. You just need to get something down. The best way to combat perfectionism is to realize nothing will ever really be perfect, and striving for perfectionism will only hold you back in the long run. So, just enjoy the process of writing and try not to be so hard on yourself. Next up is a lack of accountability. This is something that I actually struggle with a lot when it comes to writing, and a lack of accountability can really make you feel like you don't have any pressure to write your story. Because let's face it, when you're writing for yourself, you're gonna be more prone to putting things off, skipping a day, skipping a writing session here, thinking you have more time to do it, and in some cases maybe you do have the time, but most of the time you need to be more disciplined, especially if you're writing by yourself and you don't have a community of people telling you to go write. But that goes into my solution for this factor, which is to find a writing community or find an accountability partner or a writing partner or a critique partner or whatever you can find, whoever you can find, whether it's a friend or a random stranger on the internet or someone you met somewhere else. Just find someone who's willing to help you be accountable. Having that one person who's constantly checking up on your writing progress or asking you how your story's going, or even starting a channel like I did and having subscribers asking about your work, can really motivate you to keep working and to get stuff out there so that you don't leave people hanging. Because at the end of the day, when you write for yourself, it's really easy to get caught in a trap of, I'm not sharing this with anybody, so I actually don't need to work on it consistently. But that's not true. Being consistent with your writing is a recipe for success, and one of the best ways to do that is to find a community that will help keep you accountable. Factor number 3 is another one that I also struggle with a lot, and it's effective time management. Maybe you've carved out a day in your week to do nothing but write, but when it comes down to sit down at your desk and open up your document, you do anything but write. I've been there multiple times. This actually happened to me earlier this week, and it's something that I really struggle with, and I'm sure many of you guys are struggling with as well. So how do we use our time in a more effective manner to get more words on the page? Well, one thing that I've found really helps me is doing writing sprints, where I write for a set amount of time, take a break, and then get back straight into writing. And usually this is the most effective way for me to get words on the page, and I think it helps a lot of writers as well. Blocking out time in your day on a schedule or your planner is another great thing that helps. I personally don't do this, which is part of the reason why my time management skills are so poor, but I do know that people who use planners tend to be a lot more organized than I am and tend to get more things done throughout the day. So adopting methods like those is a great way to help boost your time management skills and help you be more productive during the day so that you can get more words on the page. because at the end of the day, that's all that matters, getting words on the page. Now, if you guys are enjoying these tips on how to get rid of the things that are stopping your writing momentum, make sure to drop a like on this video, subscribe for more, and drop a comment on what the most difficult thing that challenges you during your writing process is. Next up, we've got unrealistic expectations. Now, as a writer, I'm sure we all have had some unrealistic expectations about our writing in the past, or we have lofty dreams, which are not always a bad thing to have, but sometimes they can create false narratives in your head that really stop you from writing. For example, if you think you're going to write the next New York Times bestseller in a month, good luck with that. These unrealistic expectations can often lead to burnout, which is one of the main causes for long periods without writing. I know a couple of friends who have gone through writing slumps for reasons like this, and it's really not fun to go through. And a good way to combat these unrealistic expectations is to just be less harsh on yourself. It's not bad to have goals, but give yourself attainable goals. Don't set a word count goal of 10,000 words a day, knowing that you're not going to hit that. Give yourself something more realistic that aligns with your abilities and stuff that you already know how to do. For example, I would never set my word count of the day at 10,000 words because I've never written 10,000 words in a day. But something like 2,000 words is a little bit more manageable, because while that's a little bit on the higher end for me, I know that I can do that consistently if I stay disciplined and I push myself to hitting that specific word count. Now, 2,000 words may not be the goal for you, but whatever your word count goal is that you think you can realistically hit, that's what you should set as your goal. Another key component to setting goals is to make sure you celebrate those goals once you reach them. It doesn't have to be something big, but maybe buy yourself a snack after you had a great writing session, or if you got some extra money, maybe go buy yourself a little knickknack or something that you've been wanting to help celebrate this goal, and program your brain into thinking, once I complete this task, I'll be rewarded in some way or form. Building habits like those can really help you get rid of those unrealistic expectations and help you build more realistic goals. Last but not least, we have a lack of self-care. Now, I'm sure a lot of us can relate to this one. Writing is a pretty solitary activity, and we often find ourselves writing away for hours and hours alone, and that leads to burnout as well. We're sitting in front of screens all day, our eyes get tired, that leads to headaches. Those lead to us not sleeping, and then we wake up the next morning and we're tired and we don't feel like writing, and it's just a whole snowball of effects that all boil down to a lack of self-care. While writing is a great hobby to have, it can also be a very sedentary activity, and it is very important to prioritize your physical and mental health. Now, how can you prioritize self-care? Taking breaks to move your body, eating nutritious food, and getting enough sleep are just 3 of the most basic things that you can do to prioritize your physical health. There are other things like venting about your writing to a friend, or watching things that help inspire you, like movies or YouTube videos about writing, or reading a book that you've been meaning to read, can also help stimulate your brain and give you a break from writing while also being engaged in writing in some way, shape, or form. Now, self-care looks different for everybody, and I can't list out every single thing that you might want to do for self-care, but doing whatever makes you happy and makes you feel relaxed and takes your mind off of all the things stressing you out in your life are something that you might want to look into when it comes to thinking about self-care. Now, this is also another area that I struggle with, because I am not the greatest when it comes to self-care, but I am taking steps to rectify this, and hopefully it leads to me being more effective and consistent with my writing. Now that we've discussed the 5 most common factors that hinder your writing progress and momentum, it's time to talk about what the most impactful strategy to improve your writing momentum. In my opinion, it's all about developing a growth mindset. When you focus on learning and improving every day, rather than achieving perfection, you open yourself up to new possibilities and opportunities. You start to see all the challenges as a way to grow, rather than threats to your ego. So, what can you do today to cultivate a growth mindset? Take on a new writing challenge, joining a writing community, or simply commit to writing just for 10 minutes a day. The key is to focus on progress, not perfection. It doesn't matter how little that progress is. Progress is progress. One step is still one step further away from where you were before. So, in today's video, we discussed the 5 sneaky things that are killing your writing momentum. Remember, it's not about eliminating distractions 100%, because that'll never be possible. It's not about getting rid of self-doubt either, because that'll always be there. This video is about recognizing and addressing those factors in a way that works for you. By prioritizing your writing time, cultivating a growth mindset, and taking care of yourself mentally and physically, you can overcome those obstacles and get back into a writing flow. If there's something that I didn't mention in this video that may be killing your writing momentum, leave it down in the comments because I'm sure that it could help someone else who's dealing with the same thing. Also, I would like to know, what's the biggest obstacle keeping you from achieving your writing goals? Let me know down in the comments. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed these writing tips and subscribe for a lot more writing content on the way. I've been LD Jones and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.